You launched MOJ in 30 hours.
Yeah. We got to know on 29th June, 8:30 p.m. They got that TikTok is getting banned. You can't take geopolitics for granted. When governments want to fight, they just don't use their own arms today. They use their private companies. At one point when ByteDance came in, they had TikTok, but they also had a product called Hello.
Okay, I didn't know.
And they cloned Sharechat pixel by pixel, launched Hello. We in fact went to Delhi High Court, filed a lawsuit. Delhi High Court told them you have copied the app. And in fact, not just copied, you have scraped content.
You were going to get acquired by Google or something like that.
At one point in 2015 or 16, we did not have the money to pay salaries. In fact, I was at one point thinking maybe I should start preparing resume. Right now, metaverse is cool. So I will build something for metaverse. That doesn't work. That's the worst way you can think about business ideas.
Have you ever gotten like phone calls from like particular political parties and be like, hey, you know what? We're running this campaign. We want you to build our favorism.
We've had crazy stories.
So if you're competing with, like, for example, let's say TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, it's always about which platform is going to give better content or more sticky content or the kind of content I want to consume. Like, who understands me better? That's the whole battle, right? Because if I'm opening your app versus if I'm opening someone else's app, I need to feel like this company understands me better.
So on the supply side, you have content creators, right? There you have to see across content categories, across Indian languages, which is another a very unique Indian sort of thing. How do you build your differentiated content supply? Right? If you have the same creators that IG has, why will people come to you? Right? You have to have a differentiated set of creators. On the demand side, it is basically how well or how relevant is your feed.
Okay.
Essentially, you have to build the best feed ranking engine to win that game, and it's you don't have to differentiate. It is a hygiene of this business.
Okay.
Do you have a world-class recommender system or not? If not, you're not in the game.
So how do you build that? How do you build?
And that is the hardest part and the slowest moving part, and the reason why we don't have a lot of social networks in India. And I think we've painstakingly over last 4 or 5 years invested in that. In fact, went outside India, hired globally. Most of our AI team, the senior AI team, actually sits out of London and Bay Area.
Okay.
And we had to take that conscious call. And in fact, while competing with ByteDance, so at one point when ByteDance came in, they had TikTok, but they also had a product called Hello.
Okay, I didn't know.
And they cloned Sharechat pixel by pixel, launched Hello. We in fact went to Delhi High Court, filed a lawsuit. Delhi High Court told them you have copied the app. And in fact, not just copied, you have scraped content.
Oh.
So they scraped every single content, comments. And we're like, this is not fair, man. So we went to Delhi High Court. I think the court didn't understand the scraping part for whatever reason. But they said, okay, UI is obviously same. And they are like a 3-4 year old company have come here and copied an Indian app. So ByteDance had to change their entire UI of that app. They still kept scraping content. So I think that happened. But I think while competing with them, we realized how underinvested we are in our AI. As a country, not just as a company, but as a country. There is like this scale of recommending content, the Rex's AI scale, even within AI is a very, very small niche. You don't have people in India who have done that. None of the large social network companies of the West have that team in India. That is entirely based out of like largely Bay Area and then some in Canada and in London. So I think end of 2020, we figured, see, we are the best Indian Rex's company.
Yeah.
But that still doesn't cut it. We're still competing with the Western guys, right? So what do? The good part was we were anyways remote. Okay. We had launched MOJ in 30 hours being remote. So clearly we knew how to work remotely. And let's use this as an opportunity. Go out and build the global best AI org. Let's not have these artificial constraints. Yaar, India mein hiring karni hai, kyun karni? You're remote. Time zones matter. Location anyways doesn't matter, right? So we went out and started hiring. London works really well from a time zone point of view. In Bay Area, you have to manage the time zones and org that ways. But we just went out and hired the best people.
Worked out well for you.
Worked out well. And this is the hardest problem of this business.
That
I think a lot of people don't, like when you look at and you use these apps every day, right? So maybe we don't go into the technical depth of how hard it is. And I can tell you, if you are not using a social graph as a company, the problem that you're solving is multiple orders of magnitude harder for a simple reason. Imagine when you open Twitter, right? Twitter gives you a feed.
Yeah.
You have maybe followed 1,000 accounts. Those 1,000 accounts have maybe tweeted 10 times in the last week. So you have a corpus of 10,000 tweets. If I'm Twitter, I have this 10,000 tweets that from which I have to pick 10 and serve to the user.
Yeah.
When I'm Sharechat, I have a corpus of 100 million posts because I don't care about your follows. My fundamental proposition is I will find the best content from my universe and serve it to you. So we start our search from a corpus of 100 million content and find the 10 that you need. Technically, it is a much harder problem because my universe is way larger. And I think that is the beauty of the new age recommender systems, which are not based on social graph. It is technically very hard, but AI is so advanced we can do a better job just with AI and beat social graph.
Makes sense. It just sounds very difficult. Like now I'm feeling like मैं तो बस खोलता हूँ, मुझे अच्छा नहीं लगता है तो मैं 2 गाली दूंगा प्लेटफॉर्म को, नहीं होता है तो ऐसा क्या यार ठीक है, अच्छा है तो I'll just keep doing it for half an hour or else. Wow. Okay. You just said something which I can't wrap my head around. It's like you launched MOJ in 30 hours.
Yeah.
What? Where was that? Like when TikTok got banned, that's why you launched like 30 hours.
Yeah. So I told you this story, right? When ByteDance came in, they copied Sharechat. We had the lawsuit. We had back and forth legal notices. So as a team, we really had to get back at them. Although we respected them a lot, I think a lot of what we do in terms of operational excellence is what we have learned from them. But they copied our product, so we hate them. And we got to know on 29th June, 8:30 p.m. that TikTok is getting banned. And we're like, we have to get back at them. There is no way we will leave this opportunity. In fact, even if I had tried, the team wouldn't have stopped. And the team almost charged like an army. Within 20 minutes, we had a Slack. We moved the growth team at Sharechat to launch a short video product. We set ourselves a target of 48 hours. We eventually made it happen in 30 hours. With intense, like the intensity is unimaginable. Even today, I don't recollect any moment in our history where we had that kind of intensity. So we had this ritual at that point. Every single day, we log into a common Zoom room where there is a patriotic song playing in the background and the DAU graph of MOJ and Sharechat playing. Every single person has to log into that, look at that, and then start work.
Ooh.
Crazy intensity. And I think so I think with that, within 30 hours, we launched it. And the reason we could do it because I think Sharechat itself had a short video section. So we could lift a lot of code from there. And the first version of MOJ had the same supply as Sharechat. So
how did they have the same supply?
So because Sharechat is multi-format, right? It has short videos, long videos, text, images, everything.
Which is picked up and put up.
So we had a very, very good content supply to start off from.
Got it. That was gonna be my question. Like because it's user generated, right?
Yeah.
How do you onboard like a lot of users to start generating on something which was made in 30 hours? Because honestly, I know more content creators. It takes more than 30 hours for them to just create content. Forget the app.
Yeah. So see, acquiring users is easy, right? Like when TikTok got banned, people were finding an alternate. So you do marketing, you get the users. The harder part was how do you get supply on day one?
Yeah.
And we used Sharechat to sort of bootstrap that.
I tell you a funny insight, okay? So I remember last year I was talking to my manager and I said, यार अपन एक काम करते हैं जो Indian short form platform थे 2-3 उसमें try करके देखते हैं. Okay, so there was MOJ, there was Roposo, Takatak, all these places. I was like सब पे try करके देखते हैं, put out करते हैं. And my manager is like, no. I was like, why? He's like, no, we won't start posting it because we want them to give us a deal and pay us. And I was like, bro, what? And for the first, so I didn't know that you get paid to post videos on a platform till that point, because I was always posting on like Instagram and YouTube and they were not paying until now.
Yeah, that was the normal till the Chinese came in.
Yeah.
And I think all Chinese apps, when they came in, they started this entire thing of like we never paid in Sharechat till 2018.
Yeah.
Because we're like,
because why do you pay?
Why? We will help revenue stream, we will have brand deals, all of that, but you don't pay for content, right? But I think the Chinese basically taught India how to be really competitive, aggressive in building content companies.
So this was going on, and then yesterday, so I was talking to one of my friends, Webhov is his name, he runs a growth school. Okay, so he was saying that, do you feel that the market is now drying up do you feel that influencers or content creators are not gonna make enough money because the ad money is gonna dry up, right? And I said, no, it's not gonna happen. And the reason is that because as content creators, we are in a business of making people compete. And whenever you are in a business where you are helping people compete, you make money. The only way you could die is you are not able to renovate yourself so that like people stop watching you. If people are watching you, no amount of recession, dry winters, nothing's gonna stop you because you're in a business of helping them compete, right? Because let's say if my content is really working out, मैं जहाँ डालता हूँ वहाँ millions of people watch it, right? So MOJ wants me, YouTube wants me, Instagram wants me, they all want it because I'm helping them compete, I'm helping them keep up with that. I started creating content on TikTok in January, in January before the pandemic. Okay, I think June, July के आसपास they got banned, right? And sorry,
June 29.
June 29, okay. So in January, I started creating content on TikTok, and there was somebody from TikTok team. They called us and was like, okay, you need to start creating content, and we are starting something like EduTalk. So they were like hashtag EduTalk, and we're gonna promote you. I was like, how are you gonna promote me? I was like, no, just you use relevant hashtags. You put up like 20-30 videos, and we'll promote you. And then all of a sudden, like from I think I posted for 30 days. I went from 0 to 1,50,000 followers, 1,40,000 followers. I was like, wow, ये क्या हो गया है? ये क्या हो गया, right? And then one of my friends, like he explained, he used to work at TikTok. Like after TikTok got banned, he got out, of course. So he said there's a thing called heat button. So there's a certain category of people or certain certain way of content or specific area or maybe gender or maybe ratio of like whatever, right? So if they decide that as a platform, like let's promote them and try to understand whether this kind of category can we attract them or no. So at that time they wanted to try it with education because they were getting very like trolled for cringe content or whatever content, right? So they wanted to try for EduTalk, and that's why the heat button was on. So whoever would make like EduTalk ke upar content would go viral. So it's like they press it, they decide, hey, तुम star बनोगे, तुम नहीं बनोगे, तुम star बनोगे, तुम नहीं बनोगे, right? So technically that. Do you think does that happen?
See, it's not at a creator level, but essentially you should.
Of course, not at a creator level. It's just
again, you should think about it like a marketplace, right? Okay. So if let's say COVID happens, right? Platforms know that the demand for healthcare content is going to rise.
Yeah.
Because of the macro, right? And organically you will get creators who will start trading on that, and the algos will figure out and the consumption will happen. That's the more organic way. If you want to accelerate that, what do? You actually go and onboard creators of that category because you can predict that's going to become a larger sort of demand for you. So I think if you think about it like how an e-commerce company would think, probably it start making sense. And that is how I think when we got platforms from China, they were really good at that. The Western platforms never did it. They were so early into the game. They had no competition. They virtually grew without competition. And they were like organically everything happens for them. So I think this is basically if you are very deliberate, methodical, strategic in building a social network, that is the direction you would probably go to.
Makes sense.
When we look at content creators, right, we still feel India will generate millions and millions of more short video creators. We're still not at nowhere near the peak. In fact, in 5 years, we will have every single person in India being a daily active user of one or the other short video app.
Okay.
And the challenge we see is, especially in like the southern Indian languages, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, we see a massive dearth of creators. Like if you want to have a fashion, if you think about the fashion category in Tamil, today in MOJ, a lot of the Hindi fashion content is being repurposed for Tamil audience because they have no alternative. But the Tamil audience has a very different sense of fashion, right? The kind of creators they want to look. So there is actually a dearth of, let's say, fashion content in Tamil. And how do you sort of fix that, right? So we actually have teams which go out and encourage maybe beauticians in beauty parlors in Tamil Nadu and other...
create that kind of content.
And we encourage them to create short video content. So there is in general a big dearth, especially in TTMK, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, for a lot of long tail categories. In fact, a lot of these things. So funnily, The Chinese came in and went. Their content is still rotating on the platform. You get so many of these manufacturing videos, right? A lathe machine.
Yeah.
Because China has a much larger manufacturing industry, so you can generate those videos. In India में होता ही नहीं.
बने ही नहीं ऐसे
हाँ,
वीडियो,
so
इतनी
you
बड़ी
have
फैक्ट्रीज ही नहीं है.
there's a big vacuum where people just want to consume these and these are very oddly satisfying videos, right?
Yeah.
Why would I go and watch a lathe machine?
Yeah,
No reason, right?
yeah.
But I still like to watch it. So there's a big supply gap for that.
Yeah.
And you could have if not manufacturing, you could have Indian carpenters, right? Their everyday work where they're just about to finish a work. If they record that 15 seconds, that can go viral.
It'll be very satisfying
Yeah.
to watch. Yeah.
No, this is a very common thing, right? So in fact, in short videos, we always have this thing that if you want to get a short video which is full watched, like full watch is a very important metric for our algos, and you also want to get likes, like a threshold of likes. If it's a waitish thing that you are saying ki bhai kuch hoga doesn't happen. People hate that content, right?
Yeah.
So the great short video content is which you make people finish watching, and at the end there is some sort of climax conclusion which you feel happy about.
Yep.
So I think that's human behavior. I think it happens in long form video, in a movie, in a TV show, in a short form video. But you really want that conclusion climax. Ki ye video khatam hua. I felt good. Now I move to the next sort of
Makes
video.
sense. Makes sense. Because you run a platform which is largely dependent on like masses. So you would have at least built some sense of how people think in India. So have you ever noticed any pattern? Like this is largely how we think we're different from states, or maybe let's say how northern region is different from southern region, or east is different from west.
Yeah, I think
So what's the thinking pattern? Like how do we think differently?
So I think one very interesting pattern which we've seen, both commenting and our interaction in public. So we have audio chat rooms where you can go and chat. We see Malayalis and Punjabis are like 3x more than the national average.
Okay.
And they just like to talk and comment and be more engaging. The other audiences are like kara aage badho. These guys want to talk on the platform. So I think that is one very interesting thing. The other interesting thing is I think a lot of for us in Sharechat, one of the largest categories is breakup, relationship status, all of that.
Okay.
It's almost like the entire country is having a breakup at the same time. It's so large a category, and people what the way they use it is they had a breakup, they see this content, this short video status content, they will put that on WhatsApp maybe to show their ex or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a huge category.
Oh, that's why Zakir Khan is famous.
Yeah. I don't know what is happening. Maybe it's a very young country, gender imbalance, whatever. But we have a lot of breakup content demand on Sharechat.
Wow. This is new. Let's start figuring out breakup series. So I tell you from a content creator's point of view, what I've noticed, that people love to share things which they feel that they would have said. Okay, so if they feel that there's some content, they feel like, oh, yaar, ye mujhe bolna chahiye tha. Yaar, aisa hota hai. They will share that is one. And second, they'll share the content where they feel that that's making them feel smart. Like in that social circle, like we all share content. Let's say we'll share a business content or a quote or a funny joke because we all feel that this is giving us little social boost. कि like, यार ये सही बंदा है, ये सही चीज सोचता है, या सही content दिखाता है, सही jokes मारता है, right? So if a content is making a user feel smart, then content has more chances of getting traveled across domains. So this is what I've noticed about specifically in India. I don't know about abroad, right? So have you noticed certain pattern? Like if you want to build a business in India, like what do you have to do?
No, I think you're bang on that. So this social status that you gain by sharing very interesting content is a very real thing. In fact, this is how we got our first few creators on Sharechat. So our first few creators on Sharechat were the WhatsApp group admins. Okay. And they felt real. So what is the benefit you get by being a group admin, right? That WhatsApp doesn't pay you. It is the social gratification that you can find great content and share it on the group. And therefore, being a group admin is a very prestigious, cool thing.
Yeah.
And most of our first thousands of creators on Sharechat were actually WhatsApp group admins. Because they felt empowered, this was a status thing that they could reshare. They're not creating content. They could reshare impactful content, knowledgeable content, whatever they felt is useful for their community. and at the same time gain followers on Sharechat. So the first few set of creators on Sharechat were actually these. And a lot of people, I think in India, this is probably very true that a lot of people will do a lot of hard work for that incremental status uplift.
Yeah.
Which is, I think there's this debate, right? Status driven versus wealth driven. We are very status driven as a society.
Very.
So even a small incremental gain in my status in society, I will do a lot of hard work for that.
Yep. And in fact, I feel it's not just India. I think it's worldwide. The pattern is very rarely you'll find small communities who are wealth driven, but largely nations are status driven.
Yeah.
Like it's not, you cannot pinpoint at one nation and be like, hey, this nation is not status driven. Every nation is. Like you go to America, try to understand them.
Yeah.
They are hardcore status driven. Everybody is. So it's just not India.
No, I think everyone is both, and you just like have different degrees.
Different people in different, because I think it's more than nation wise. It's like communities wise,
like
or your personal situation.
I can tell you, like people on Sharechat say that we want a golden ring around our profile to look different when we comment. There is no reason, you don't get any utility. It's just status that when I comment, people should look at it. And I can tell you one more example. So when we have these audio chat rooms, the virtual gifting ones I mentioned, right? One of the ways we make revenue is when you enter a chat room, there's an entry animation. Ki when I enter, there is a horse coming in.
Ooh.
And the entire chat room sees ki kya hua, kaun aaya. Or XYZ aaya. And you have to buy that. It's not free.
Oh.
You should buy that for 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees, and then you get this animation when you come in.
Sweet. You've cracked some good code, bro. Because I'm just imagining, if I want to enter some audio room, I would rather make sure that, hey, I've entered, bro. Yeah. Nice. I like this thing. Like, is it already somewhere, or you were the first ones to do it?
No, this comes organically. So people are fighting for attention, even on your YouTube lives, right? Like this whole thing of super chat and all. Yeah. Why do people do it? To get attention, right?
Claps aa jate hain.
So I think if you like in the same dimension, super chats are, I think, not as I would say colorful the way they come in. Ours are like animations.
That's much more satisfying. Yeah. It's like, yo, I'm coming. Nice. I like it.
You have Lamborghini would come in when you enter. Animated.
Dude, you're cracking this metaverse NFT game way before anyone. Like NFTs are for status, like, right? And you guys are kind of doing it. So everybody, you can like one day be like, hey, buy this NFT, and every time you enter, like the Lamborghini NFT would like drive in. Sweet. So recently I saw like We Crashed. Then I saw Uber Super Pumped. And then I saw Dropout, the Theranos one. Everything like, why are all of the series now becoming like, we all are as if we're celebrating the destruction of startups? Like, no.
I think it is probably the analogy is, why do we watch Crime Patrol? Crimes are a very tiny portion of our daily lives, right?
Crimes, let's just say.
Like the negative stuff sells. I think that's just the reality. You have to make the good stuff really exciting for you to sell it. I think it's probably the person producing the content is probably looking at ROI also. I think nothing in this world works without ROI, and they know this works, and hence they make it. I think it just
but I
sells
feel like
better.
Content, you know what? Content build communities, and communities drive culture. This is what I feel, right? So if there's content which is a negative sentiment, so there's gonna be a community which kind of hate the startup world, will start hating with like, hey, ऐसे पैसे नहीं उठाना, ऐसे काम नहीं करना, ऐसी चीजें नहीं करना, right? Like they'll build that community, and once that community is built, the culture will be very anti-startup if you go ahead.
I think you've already experienced that, right?
Yeah.
In your pod.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When you have stuff which is anti VC funded startup, that works really well, that goes viral, and the other stuff doesn't, right? As much.
But why is that? Like that's what I'm asking. Like I fail to understand it. It's not. So for me, as a podcaster, right, it's really interesting to have a couple of different views, because I feel there's one thing which is going wrong in celebration, and that is startups are getting celebrated because they raise funds. And that's not right way of celebrating. This is just my way of feeling, right? Like you should be celebrated because the amount of users you have had, the 30-hour thing you have built, like the code you have cracked, the retention you have built, the amount of daily active users you have, right? Like they should be celebrated. Like how bunch of college kids thought of building something in real estate and then all of a sudden ended up competing with the like giants of the world and like Chinese companies, right?
Yeah.
Like this should be celebrated. Not that hey series B mein inhone na 10 million uthaya. Like no.
I think the problem there, a very practical problem, not going into the philosophy of it, is the signal is very, very strong when somebody puts money in a company. It is, you can read the details, it's publicly filed, everything. When we make tremendous gains in our actual revenues, retention, there's no authority which sort of can validate that.
Okay.
And people come with any kind of crap when they publish PR numbers. Nobody verifies, right?
Yeah.
So we lack a system which can actually verify business metrics. We are all private companies. We have no incentive to disclose our numbers, except this funding, which comes in directly and is filed in the MCA and all of that happens.
So what should, okay, so if someone comes in and tells us, hey, you know what, we're valued at $1 billion because we have this, how do we verify? Like, what do I do? Like, kaise manu main tumne bola hai? I have no other option just to look in someone's eyes and like just see how convincing they are. That's it.
See, people who are valuing on a future potential, right? And as I mentioned, right, so all Indian unicorns are betting on India's GDP per capita going up. So you have to assume that as truth. And then if that happens, why will you, so if you're being valued at 10 billion, why will you make $1 billion a year in revenue if that happens in the next 5-10 years? And you have to have a convincing story.
Yeah.
It has to be a story, right? Because you're putting money for the future value creation.
Yeah. That makes sense.
There is no other way, right? Because I am not generating that money right now.
Are you?
But I promise, पक्का करूँगा मैं वो.
एक दिन आएगा. Nice. So, are you bullish on India's story? Are you bullish on the growth story of India, like how we have, like right now, the way things are progressing, or you think we are overestimating our growth?
No, I think we have done some phenomenal things as a country.
Of course.
Right. I could not imagine the trajectory for our company, and we are so digital native, right? We don't have armies of ops people, deliveries. We are as tech as you can get, and the way we have disrupted internet, like with Geo coming in, unimaginable. That probably pulled our trajectory earlier by 5 years. The way UPI worked, we could not imagine the amount of microtransactions. We're doing like 400 crores of annual microtransactions. These are like 10 rupee things, and it's going to double by year end. Could not have imagined had UPI not happened. So I think in a few areas, especially the digital infra, we've done really well. The physical infra probably I think is lagging. But we're doing really well on that, which I did not expect. So I think overall I am optimistic. Even the current macro, right? So when you talk to folks in US, I think there is far more pessimism today, where in this talks of recession and all of that, versus India. Like in US, the traditional large value companies are actually showing earning weaknesses. We haven't seen that in India yet.
Yes.
So and we are at inflation of 7-8%. We were anyways at 5-6, right? Doesn't make a big difference. In US, you have a massive difference, right? In inflation. So I think we are in relative sense probably in a much stronger place versus some of the developed countries. And I think we are very fortunate as entrepreneurs to be here and building during this time. So I think I am very optimistic.
When we talk about India growth story, why India makes sense is when you look at China, right? Everybody says this cheap labor manufacturing hub, right? They all of a sudden from like let's say they're developing, they went to developed. Industrialization or industrializing to industrialized. Like all of a sudden, like China's potential is like saturated all of a sudden because there's so much competition. Their labor cost has went up. So now they don't have any other option but to give it to India or maybe Bangladesh or maybe Vietnam, right?
Also, I think diversifying your supply chain is the thing these days. So,
but do you think as a business owner, diversification makes sense, or whoever's going to give you cheap makes sense?
No,
cheap supply makes sense. Or diversified.
See, in an ideal world, which we were assuming the world is going to be different. There's going to be no conflict in the future. We are now going to be in utopia. You would always make a simple decision, right? Cheaper, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But we are not in that world, and I think the last few years have proven that. Like, you can't take geopolitics for granted.
Yeah. Not at all.
And when governments want to fight, they just don't use their own arms today. They use their private companies to fight the war, the proxy war. So I think you cannot imagine that that things will remain cordial with all countries forever. Hence, you as a private company have to diversify.
Yeah.
So I think it's not that the private companies will do it out of, I don't know, patriotism or whatever. They will do it with the very practical thing that I want to diversify. I cannot be held hostage.
Yeah.
I need to have my options and keep delivering to my customers. So I think it's still a very, very profit-driven, sustainability-driven sort of mindset, and you will have to diversify your supply chain.
100%. When you're talking about building, like having India's GDP, right? Like we all are vouching on that India's GDP will grow, and that's where every startup will make money. Every startup talking about a growth story. Do you think that will happen if we keep selling to Indians? Like, let's say we all say that India doesn't have money right now. Okay, so we need to increase our earning capacity and spending capacity. Don't you think that will only happen when we export things?
No, so exports is one for sure.
Because unless we get like foreign revenue in, how will we get the spending power? Because let's say the Indians we are a nation of more than 140 crores. I don't know, 125 crores, 140 crores.
140, yeah.
140 crores, right? More than 140 crores. And we say the far majority, like 90% of the population isn't very fortunate to spend and has like a large disposable income. So when 90% of the people don't have large disposable income, how do they get that large disposable income? When they're making a lot, who do they make from? They cannot make by selling it to each other. They have to sell it to someone else who has the money. Right? Like if you don't have money and I don't have money, it doesn't matter what do I make and what do you make. We can't keep selling to each other because we don't have enough money to sustain. Can we, like, isn't it like we need to make products here which we will be selling it to the world, and then the world buys it from us at a 2x or a 3x price, and that money we get in, and then we spend it, and that's how everybody makes more money. Is it that way? Because that's what happened with China, right? That's what happened with Bangladesh, because they started exporting their services, their products, their infrastructure, their things to outside world.
So I think that's one very important part, because like the global GDP, the external demand is far, far higher than the domestic demand today, right?
Yeah.
In absolute numbers. So if you are world leading in one sector and people are willing to buy your products, that's a very, very quick way and get access to that larger market. So rising in exports is definitely one area where we have lacked. I think we've exported our services well. We've never exported our goods well.
Yeah.
So I think, and that's changing, right? We are seeing early signs where both from our internal efforts that we are actually looking how do we make it easier with all these incentive schemes, PLIs, all of that, and the world is realizing that they want to diversify at the same time, right? So it's sort of coming at the right time.
Right. So what do you think is a bigger opportunity right now? Building in India for the world or building in India for India?
I think it depends. Again, we are in India building for India. We do have certain revenue coming from the Middle East with the Indian diaspora there. So that aside, but we're largely building for India, right? And in fact, within that, we see a very large opportunity.
Okay.
And the way we think about it is, see, if you can build in our case, a large multi-100 million DAO social media product competing with the likes of Facebook, YouTube, then you've built a world-class platform, both for feed ranking, creation tech, all of that. And that puts you in a very, very good stage to enter the next paradigm shift, which happens. We've always lagged, right? When smartphones happened, we were nowhere, we had no tech. The people who were already large on desktop had all the tech muscle to sort of start and capture that new market, right? We were never there. We were always playing the catch-up game. Once we have large scaled out companies in India, maybe they're serving the Indian audience to begin with. Because that's their home advantage. We know, like I'm talking about Tamil beauticians.
Yeah.
I don't think Zuckerberg is thinking about it. Right?
Yeah.
So you have certain advantages being the home player. Once you've built a very competitive product, the next paradigm shift, the next opportunity that comes out globally, then you go and attack that. So I think at least for us, we think that way, is that India itself is a massive opportunity. We are in fact just on that path where digital ad revenues are crossing, like I think it crossed print 3 years ago. while other China, US are already sort of far ahead, right? So we are in that curve where we're still growing as a country. And once you capture that opportunity, build a world-class tech, next paradigm shift, aim bigger, go global, fight the global giants in their home
So
turf.
first is
And
you
that
would
is
say,
what China did, right? Like imagine in social media consumer, China is far ahead than US.
yeah,
They built this massive company called ByteDance. Now they're entering US and hammering the US companies.
yeah. Oh, they're killing it.
They're killing it, right? So you need that large domestic consumption story, domestic revenue story, build world-class tech, and then you go out.
Got it. So it's like, it's a simple story that, hey, first you become champion in your home and then you go beat
And
the world.
it work differently for different people, right? There is a lot of this SaaS thing that is happening where you build in India but for the world. And like from year one, you are actually having global clients. So I think for different companies, the playbook could be different. But I still won't say that the only way to build a great company in India is to have global clientele, right? You can have build for India. In fact, we build for tier 2, tier 3 India, which is arguably even less spending
So
capacity, right?
you feel like even though the wallet sizes are small in India, there still can be a bigger company made just in India because of the play of volumes.
Sheer volume, yeah.
There was a rumor, right, that you were going to get acquired by Google or something like that. What was it?
We've had multiple rumors.
Were you ever going to?
I won't take names, but I can tell you we've had 3 acquisition offers. One of them was north of $1 billion, and we are still here.
So $1 billion, you didn't sell it. Why? You didn't feel like, यार लेते हैं बढ़िया life जिएंगे, exit करेंगे?
Yeah, I think that lure is very strong when you see like 100 million plus outcome, very liquid, in front of your eyes. It is very lucrative.
Yeah.
And can I think change your current mind space, all of that. But I think it eventually comes down to what you really want to do. And I thought even if I get that at 28, what will I do? I'll probably go on a world tour for like 1 year, stay in the best hotels, never come back home. I'm anyways unmarried, right? I don't have to. I don't have any responsibilities. But then what? I will again go back and try to build something.
Yeah.
Because I just can't stay relaxed for the rest of my life, right? Like, and will I get? What are the chances that I will have the same platform again, which is a very powerful platform, right? That you've built. There are chances, but again, these are rare occurrences.
Yeah.
In world,
Yeah.
we only have 100 unicorns in India.
Yeah.
Right. So then it didn't make sense, right? Like even if I get the money, what will I do? I will go back and do it. So why am I not doing it now? So I think you sort of go through that entire cycle where you're really excited, you want to do it, you can see the money in front of your eyes, and then you think deeper, and then you're like, maybe it doesn't make sense. Especially given my context, that I'm still very young. What would I do?
क्या करूँगा?
So yeah, I think back to square one, building.
But like, this is a very important message for everyone who's watching, like who's young right now, because we all feel like, hey, let's make $1 billion today. Let's do this. Like, let's get an exit. Like, एक दो startup बना दो, बेचो और खत्म करो. यार चलो आगे. Life, like, let's move on.
Yeah.
Forget $1 billion. Let me get like $5-10 million. I'm happy, more than happy with living my life, right? Like, I think a lot of people think like that, and very few people think the way you are thinking, that, hey, let me build the process. Let me do something.
And I'll be honest, like, this is not the default that comes to your mind.
Yeah.
The default is money is great, why not?
Yeah.
And it takes a week probably to get over the hangover. So
yeah, I was gonna ask you this. Like,
so a quick tip for anyone who's building a company, got a M&A offer. Take 2 weeks at least. Take 2 weeks off. Don't talk to people who could motivate you either side. Talk to yourself. What gives you happiness? And 2 weeks later, if you are on the same answer as on day one, probably you should do that. But in my case, and I think me and my co-founders, I think within 2 weeks, the whole excitement we figured is short term. That's not what we really want to do in life. And I think.
Nice. So do you think, like, if we start getting like early exits in India, the real growth story will happen, because then we'll put out like a lot of capital in early startups?
No, I 100% agree. I think you have to put capital in the hand of builders. And I can tell you, when Flipkart M&A happened, although it was, I think there are probably not the best outcome for the founders at that point, but whatever, like it was a large outcome. I think that changed the trajectory for the country.
Yeah.
It gave so much confidence and the money to the right people. How many people came out of that and started their own companies or joined startups, right?
Yeah.
So that becomes a very, very interesting cycle once that happens. And I think this is a very powerful force, right? If you give capital to people who want to build, who just don't want to like spend it and have a luxurious life, and just that, like you can have a luxurious life, but you still want to build something. I think वो जो कीड़ा है वो नहीं मरना चाहिए. If you give money to people who just want to like just chill out, what do? That money doesn't compound. You don't have risk takers. You don't fund risk takers.
Yeah.
Instead, if you give money to builders who also want to take that risk, even invest in other risk takers, that is how you sort of build the economy, right? So I think that cycle is phenomenal. It's already happening. We're having few large outcomes, and I think last year we had a lot of ESOP buybacks, for example, secondaries happening. That's all great.
Yeah.
Money going to the right people who want to build, change things. They will not look at a problem and say, यार ये तो इंडिया है, क्या करूँ मैं अमेरिका जाता हूँ. They will say, I will solve it.
Yeah.
You want people who will see a problem and say, I will solve it.
Who was your first backer? Like, how did you?
This was India Quotient.
Okay.
They put the first check of 50 lakh rupees.
And what do you think? Why did they put it? Like, what convinced them? What do you remember any anecdote from that?
Yeah, we worked. So we were actually building a product called Gossip, which was anonymous group chat.
Okay.
And we took that product to India Quotient. We met Anand Madhukar, who were the two partners of that fund, and we pitched them. And I was in my third year back then, and they said it will not work for whatever reason. They're like, anonymous nahi karenge hum, but you guys are great. If you want, you can work out of our office and let's see how things go. And I was in my third or fourth year, and I used to actually travel from Kanpur to Mumbai via train because flights were expensive. And like almost all of my fourth year, I was in Mumbai, and we used to be there and keep building products.
Okay.
And the one thing they liked about us कि यार ये लोग बना देते हैं product 20 दिन में. Like we have teams in an incubator who take 6 months, still don't deliver a product.
Yeah.
They brainstorm with us an idea and they build in 20 days.
Yeah.
And we literally used to work all night, get an app ready in 20 days, and like ready हो गया, अब देखते हैं क्या होता है. And I think that is what convinced them. Even before we landed Sharechat, they got convinced and invested 50 lakh rupees. I was in my fourth year or last semester, when we got the funding. Still hadn't graduated. I think your ability to build fast is a very strong moat in your initial days. Because a lot of people claim tall things, don't actually build.
Yeah.
And we were in the incubator day and night, coding in front of them, shipping product in like record time.
And then what happened next?
So we had raised this money, but nothing was working out, right?
Okay.
In fact, we had got an intent term sheet, not actual money. And I was in my fourth year, right before placements. And nothing is working out. We were building this product called, after Gossip, we built Opinio.
Okay.
Which was a debating platform. Basically, you can have like Sachin versus Virat. There's a debate going on. You comment, and basis engagement, we will tell who won.
Okay.
I don't know why we were building, but we were building that. And I was in my hostel room, and I was trying to spam the link of the debating app onto different Facebook groups. And there was one Facebook group which was Sachin's fan club, 500,000 members, public Facebook group. Within that group, there was a post which had a Sachin's photo and a WhatsApp logo. And below that, people were sharing their phone numbers.
Okay.
The admin was basically saying that if you want to be added to a Sachin WhatsApp group, put your phone number. And there were 50,000 people who commented their real phone number in a public forum. And this is also in the backdrop, internet.org is happening and free business is happening. Like the elites of the country are shouting for privacy, we want privacy, net neutrality. And यहाँ पे 50,000 लोगों ने अपना phone number डाला हुआ है. And I'm like, this is really strange. Why would people do that? And I sort of scraped 1,000 phone numbers, put that in my WhatsApp, and made 10 WhatsApp groups. Sachin photo, Sachin meme, Sachin wallpaper, all of that. Because I thought, like, if they're putting phone numbers to be in a WhatsApp group, they don't know who the admin is. Maybe I'm the admin, they'll assume. So I make that WhatsApp group, go down, it is lunchtime, I go to canteen. 1 hour later, I come back. I open my hostel room door. And my phone is on that table, constantly beeping with notifications. I pick up the phone. Every single group that I had formed an hour ago has hundreds of unread messages. I open the groups and people are sharing content around such in कोई video भेज रहा है. A guy would say कि शाहजहाँ कब की video भेजो, and somebody would reply with a video. And these are, imagine, 100 strangers picked off the internet, put in a WhatsApp group. They're not complaining. They're sharing content. They're really happy कि अब हमें content मिलेगा. And this thing is what triggered. And this is one day before I'm supposed to sit for placements.
Oh.
And I'm like, we failed 14 times. Nothing has worked so far. Should we take this jump? And should I leave my placements? And I don't know what happened. Maybe it was being so young and naive. I just said, यार कि placement तो छूट भी जाएगी तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? I'll get a job if this fails, right? But ये promising लग रहा है. Even though it's my 15th. And we like all three of us had tried 14 different times. This is our 15th. But something in your heart sort of says, right, go like take a leap. And with that thing, I take a train again to Mumbai. Farid and Manu, they were 1 year senior to me in college. So they had already graduated. They were doing their struggle in Mumbai.
Yeah.
That office.
Same
to,
office.
Yeah.
Kanpur.
And I go there and I'm like, guys, ये कुछ interesting lag raha hai. This is very interesting. And I actually show them a demo that I will make a Facebook group, Facebook post and see how many people comment phone numbers. This was a common thing.
Yeah.
If you put a WhatsApp logo, people will start putting their phone numbers. And they were like, ye kyun kar rahe hain phone number comment? And I think that is what got us excited, and we started.
Okay.
So we built a chatbot.
Okay.
And the way it would work is ki you go, let's say it's a Sai Baba wallpaper chatbot, right? You will go there, you will say hi. The bot will say hi. Do you want Sai Baba wallpaper content? You will say yes. And in all languages. Tamil, all of that. And you will get a wallpaper. Then you will say, मुझे और चाहिए. Then the bot will give you more. And that is how you will get wallpapers.
Wow.
And we also had really smart chatbots because we were engineers and we wanted to ये तो बहुत simple हो गया ना. So we built really smart chatbots which will predict basis your requirements which is the best smartphone that you should buy. Like some smart chatbots which could actually talk to you. Nobody wanted to use that.
Okay.
Everyone just wanted wallpaper, ringtone, joke, shairi. That is what people wanted. And we're like, यही लोगों को चाहिए. And it is such a pathetic way of giving content कि और भेजो and the content will come. फिर the user will say और भेजो, the content will come. That is not how the content experience should be, right? And then we pivoted to this current model that we will have a simple feed. So this idea that a feed-like construct is the best way, the infinite scrollable feed is the best way to serve content was an organic discovery that we had eventually. And when we did that, we launched that in October 2015. The moment we launched that, our shares per DAO went up 5x. Our 7th day retention went up double.
Wow.
And it just kept growing after that. We could not stop the growth.
Wow.
And that is when we got the next round of funding.
Nice. So how many rounds have you raised till now? 5, 6?
I've lost the count. We raised the Series H. So I don't know.
पहले तो एक question था first, like why you have always thought of building social platform only?
Not really. So as I said,
like
right?
Is it like, like think about it, like everything is like consumer internet type. Like gossip was same, then opinion was this.
See, college kids.
It's like जो 1,000 लोग, जो लाखों लोग use करेंगे वही बनाएंगे, बाकी को tech से फर्क नहीं पड़ता हमें.
I can in fact tell you the first PMF we actually got was we built the most popular dating app of our college.
Okay. ये कहाँ से obsession आ रहा है?
So this happened on like a few days before Valentine's Day. कि यार इतने सारे लोग हैं हमारे आसपास. They're very shy, introverted. They're not speaking out and proposing and all. Can we build a app which can anonymously match? I don't think Tinder had happened. This is 2012. And we built this app called Puppy Love, which is still live in fact.
Okay.
So every single Valentine's Day in ID Kanpur, they make it live.
Oh, wow.
Where you anonymously put your crush list. We anonymously match. If there is a match, we give you a CCD coupon. You can go and have coffee in the campus CCD.
Oh, that's a sexy plan. That's a good plan.
So when we build that, first, in fact, a very important learning that we got from that. Before building that, I had actually gone and talked to maybe like 10 different women in campus, girls in campus. Every single one of them said, "Ye kaun use karega? We don't need this product. why will anybody put the list? You can just come in and approach and have a chat, right? And I'm like, if you can't get girls to use the app, then the dating app fails, right? Guys anyways will use. So I still thought, यार करके देखते हैं. We built the app. 70% of the campus signed up and actually filled the crush list.
Wow.
So the consumer feedback was actually entirely wrong, opposite of what people actually did.
Interesting.
And on that day, I normally wasn't a very regular lecture attending student. On that particular day, I made sure I went to a lecture. It was the largest lecture hall in IIT, L7. And I was in the last seat. And I actually heard the person in front of me talking कि भाई तूने भरा के puppy love में. And that satisfaction that you get, right, when you've built a product and people are talking about it. And they don't even know I'm sitting behind and who I am. But like there was a buzz in the lecture hall कि भरा क्या. And I think that was the satisfaction which I think I still get. And somehow there is this connect that if your platform is reaching millions of people, that sort of gives satisfaction. That is why probably this obsession with B2C companies, and you can't get more skill than social anywhere.
And it's like you get direct satisfaction from your direct customers. Like it's not you have to deal with an enterprise. You have to deal with like direct people. अरे तू मेरा product use करता है कितना feel आएगा. This was your obsession for social happened. You wanted to build all of this. You made Sharechat. You raised about $1 billion, right? What is the most important thing which you have learned? Like whoever is building right now, what should they know? Like
I think
like in your journey, like what have you learned?
Learned a bunch of things, but I think one thing that I would probably point out is there were so many moments during the last 7 years where I thought it's the end of the story. At one point in 2015 or 16, we did not have the money to pay salaries. And we got funding or the capital wired just in time to pay salaries in the first week of a month. So there have been so many near-death moments. And I don't know how we thought what we did, but we persevered and went through. I think that is probably one thing that I would say. There are like, even really large startups go through multiple moments where they feel it is end of the story, done. In fact, I was at one point thinking maybe I should start preparing resume. This is not going anywhere. It is going to end. What will I do? So I think every startup, even if you are large, you've raised a lot of capital, you're doing well, at some point in their journey, they would have faced this moment. And it's about just like being there, fighting it out, and you'll do well eventually.
Talking about being there, right? It's when you're beginning, you built let's say good PMF, you are 3-4 people building stuff in the start. How do you hire the first 10 people? Like what do you do? Like you just hire a bunch of your friends because obviously you're very well equipped with the friends because you went to IT, or what is the scene?
No,
that's the most difficult part, right? Like I'm sure hiring is still pain in the ass even today.
Yes, very true. Hiring, no matter which scale you are, if you're a fast growing startup, it is always the most important thing that you can do as founders. And especially if you're a young founder, right? Like we were right out of college. We don't have any workplace connections.
Exactly.
The only thing I've done in a corporate is actually an internship at Microsoft in third year. I've never done any other actual job.
So you don't even know.
I don't have any workplace network, right? I can't just go and get people. So it is really hard, and your network helps. I think thankfully we were from ITK. So the first 3 engineers we had were all from IT, our batchmates. And they were doing really well. They were in Google, Adobe sort of companies, and they willingly took a bet that because of our friendship or whatever, they jumped in, right? That is probably the most difficult hire you would make, your first few hires, because abhi we have a lot of things going our way, right? You have capital, you have a large story, people who are attracted with scale, you won't get better scale. So there are a bunch of things you can sell. On day one, what do you sell?
Exactly, that's what
ना कुछ बना है, पता नहीं क्या बना रहे हैं, फंडिंग है नहीं,
खुद के पास कोई पेडिग्री की यार मुझ पे ट्रस्ट कर लो, कैसे ट्रस्ट
वो कह रहा है कल तक तुम साथ में बैठे हुए थे लेक्चर हॉल में, सेम तो काम कर रहे थे, हॉस्टल में हम लोग शॉर्ट्स पहन के घूम रहे थे कैंटीन में. Now you're telling me you will build a massive company and I should work for you. So I think those are very difficult hires, and I think having college networks, friendships help if you're a young entrepreneur. But you have to get those first few hires right, both from a skill point of view and a culture point of view. Because it is risk, right? Like they're taking a very high risk along with you. And it takes a very special mindset to sort of do that.
And another question, like, on back of this, let's say you hire a bunch of college students because you don't know what's a good hire and a bad hire, because you have never worked, and B, you don't know until you hire, you don't know what's a bad hire, right? Like you only have an idea of कि यार ये बंदा मेहनती लग रहा है, ये लग रहा है, मेरे को अच्छा लग रहा है, ले लो. Like I'm sure in the start you make those mistakes because nobody can even guide you, even if they tell you, like, give you a good list of 1, 2, 3, 4 ये होना चाहिए candidate में, you still fuck up. Like I'm sure you must have had stories of bad hires as well. So you hire, let's say you first 10 people, you got your 10 people, right? Now you have never worked, so you don't understand management, you don't understand systems, you don't understand कि किसको कैसा job description क्या होता है, KPIs क्या होते हैं, you don't understand anything. How do you learn all of this? How do you build all of this? Or what do you do?
See, first few hires for us were from our college, right? So we knew what kind of people were coming in. We had worked not in like this capacity, but college projects. So in general, we've worked together. So I think you have good confidence there. But I think even in the first 10 hires, right, some of the things you mentioned, like KPIs and all, that is not even needed. I would say when you have 10 people, you should be knowing exactly what everyone is doing. You should be very, very in tune with how they're working. And if it's not working, let's say you made a bad hire, the KPI will not flag that off. Because you're going to office every single day and working with them, you will know if they're really like up for the job. And you have to be, I would say, very pragmatic and take quick calls, because bad hires can kill startups. It's not just a thing ki chalo galti ho gayi. They will actually drag the entire team down.
Talk about your mistakes, okay? So tell me one mistake you feel people should not make when they're raising funds. Then one mistake which you have made as a hire, like what was a bad hire, and then one mistake which you feel you would not repeat as a founder.
Yeah, I think when we were early on, right, when we didn't have and we didn't have exposure to any of this, we got a lot of people who wanted to come in, but for very different reasons. They did not know what the startup was, what we will do. They just wanted to put
Money
for random reasons. And some of those guys ended up being really painful for other companies that we sort of thought. So I think you really need to know why somebody is coming in.
Okay.
And in our case, we are building a social network. So don't expect revenue for first 5 years. If somebody comes and says, "Acha, revenue kab hoga?" In the first year, when we are like still struggling to find a PMF, you know it's a wrong person for our kind of a business. So I think I think it is very important to understand what is that long-term investment, long-term incentive for that shareholder investor coming in. Will they play the game with you? And in social media, we are the first social media, right? So there is nobody has made money in that before. So and we want to do things in a certain way. Will they align with us long term or not? So I think thankfully we got great investors. As I mentioned, that when I went to Sandhill Road, they were zero takers, and probably for the good, because they would have like backed down in the first hardship. But we got really good people who believed that there should be an Indian social media company and sort of kept backing us.
Got it. So, okay. Next was bad hire. What was one mistake you made as a...
I would say don't hire domain experts. Don't hire domain experts.
Okay.
We've had this. We've burned our hands so many times.
Hire journalist.
You get not. So let me rephrase. Like we are in an industry which has a lot of traditional counterparts, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And you get somebody from print media, and then make them in charge for a function in social media. Don't do that. I think we've now learned it is far better to index on first principle thinkers and let them do the job, versus hiring only for, let's say, that particular experience. That has never worked for us.
Got it.
I think at some points you have to do at mid levels and all of that, but if something is really critical for you, hasn't happened in the past in the country, you need a very strong first principle thinker and somebody who can think big, think audacious, very good at execution. That persona is far better than somebody who's worked in the similar domain in, let's say, 5 years.
The last thing, as a founder, what have you made like a mistake?
So we failed 14 times, right? In college, building different things. I think we were chasing the wrong thing. We were probably chasing trends you might call them. So I think the truth of a business problem, you will always hear from customers their problems. That's the real sort of thing. Everything that you hear, right? Like right now, metaverse is cool, so I will build something for metaverse. That doesn't work. That's the worst way you can think about business ideas. You should think, what is the customer problem, hence what is the solution. If the solution comes out to be some form of metaverse, great. It's also a good, like a real problem and the trendy thing, so you'll probably raise capital. But just by picking a trend and then sort of saying, now let me find a problem, I think we've done this mistake of taking a solution then finding the problem, because we were engineers, some great tech comes in, we are very excited, and then we start finding problems. It's the wrong way. You can be lucky and probably succeed, but I think Sharechat was the first thing where we figured a very interesting consumer phenomena, and then came to a solution that it is probably not a chat room, chatbot is a feed, and then we came to a solution, ML feed. So I think it was, you could be very sort of excited, acha, AI is the cool thing, content mein feed chalta hai, let's build that. You could have been lucky and still built Sharechat, but that was not our journey.
Got it. So this is a question which we have recently started asking people is, how do you make money? How would you make money? Like, what's the business model, revenue model for your startup?
ये तो out of syllabus हो गया.
मैं VC है. अब मैं next fund कर रहा हूँ.
Yeah, I think we have a simple business model. We have a lot of people who come on the app daily, spend a lot of time, and we serve them ads. That's one model. So we help brands reach out to users. They can in fact leverage our influencers to narrate their story to their fans. So ads is one large part, how we make money. Let's say an FMCG brand is launching a new, I don't know, biscuit. We give them a trending hashtag with a special lens that they only can get because we are building that lens. And we'll give them, let's say, a click like CTA button, because only the platform can give them. So we will make that campaign way larger. And it's an ad, but the creatives are sort of sourced from influencers in a way. You can think about it that way.
Okay, so as a platform also, you kind of facilitate the influencer marketing apart from like the content and ad
promoted
marketing.
Hashtags, trends are all.
Got it. And then the ad space also you sell.
Yes.
So these are the only two models right now?
No. So this is largely ads as one bucket. Then we have microtransactions.
Okay.
These gifting, virtual gifting things, where if you're an influencer, you can go live, either on audio or on video, and your fans can gift you like a 10 rupee chocolate, 10 rupee ring. It can go like from 10 rupees to 10,000 rupees. But they can give you like a virtual gift. If you're, let's say, playing a guitar and your fans like it, they will give you something as a gift, virtual gift. So that's the other revenue stream, which is actually growing way, way faster than we imagined. India would sort of jump on this microtransaction bandwagon. And I think that's right now at 50 odd million, doubling by the year end, and we see a huge potential.
How many daily active users you have on the platform?
So in monthly actives, we are 400 plus. In daily actives, we'll be 100 plus million.
How many people in India does have access to internet? 600 million, 700 million?
Yeah.
So out of 600 million people, 400 million people are...
No, there'll be... So 400 is a summation of Sharechat, MOJ and Takatak.
Okay.
So there'll be some duplicate, maybe 250 to 300 unique.
But like 50% of India is kind of using your product. Do you understand the scale of it? Like, do you understand like how much power and like how much responsibility you have? Like, it's massive. Okay. What do you feel like your revenues are going to be?
So 5 years out, our projection is $1 billion per year.
How do you feel right now? Do you regret that? $1 billion तो मैं 2 साल पहले ले लेता exit में. अभी 7 साल रुकना पड़ रहा है.
No, I think it is, as I said, what are you trying to optimize for? I think this is a very fun, exciting, and I'm privileged to be having this platform, right? This is far more rare than $100 million. If you just look at it objectively, your power to influence such a large platform is far rarer in this world than $100 million.
Yeah.
Objectively, this is more lucrative.
Of course. So coming to this point, right? I was watching this series called Social Dilemma. Okay, that say like how platforms are reason to shape the way people think. So do you think that is happening? Do you feel like, do you guys have that power, or you feel like the ML and AI is control or built in such a way that they automatically have the power and user have power of how they think, because the more they consume, the more they're shown that thing. It's not you who decides ki, hey, Raj ye dekhega, आज Raj को ऐसे convince करते हैं. Like, what's the game? Like, I want to understand it better from someone who knows the game.
See, our incentives, we are a private for-profit company, right? Like, let's start from that. What are we really trying to build? We are trying to build a profitable company. How do we make profit? If people spend more time on the platform, or they build stronger connections, hence they do more gifting. And the third part is commerce, which will scale up as we go forward. But again, that also depends that as an influencer, can you convince your fans to buy something? So there are two dimensions that you need to keep getting stronger on to drive more revenues, hence profitability. One is total time spent, the other is stronger connections between people. And our algos essentially try to maximize those. We have no incentive or interest in making one individual or set of individuals consume a particular content. We are simply a for-profit company trying to increase these two dimensions. How do we entertain people more so that they watch more videos? It's a very simple sort of objective. Or how do we help consumers get more content from their influencers who they've already sort of followed and shown intent towards, so that they build stronger connection. They can comment better, they can get replies. So they can build a stronger connection. When they go live, they can probably interact, gift, all of that. So I think we are in that very simple business. It is not about...
So do you feel that because someone, example, if I'm shown some, let's say, a hatred video, randomly it just comes on my post, okay, and I don't realize it, I finish it. But just because I've seen it, I get more of it. And then my hatred towards that particular subject or particular category or topic or person increases a lot. Like a lot, because I get to see more videos on this. So then my thinking is, instead of becoming like someone who accepts different opinions, is getting polarized. Like I'm thinking in one direction now.
See, one is we do have thresholds, right? Like we don't allow certain kind of content, which is like hate speeches, pornographic content, things of that nature. There's a boundary. You cannot cross that boundary because we feel that's bad for our community.
Yeah.
So apart from that, if you have opinions, I think we do not want to control opinions on any side of any debate. If you are watching content interested in one side of debate, you will get that. You will also get the other side. If you are only consuming one side of the thing, it doesn't mean you only get that. We also have models which try to explore other kind of content that you would want to consume, right? So I think we are like from a objective of that algo point of view, we're not trying to sort of nudge you in one direction. We're only trying to sort of make sure that there are a few categories that you like, hence let's give you more of that. But at the same time, let's show you what else do we have on the platform. Yeah. And maybe you build affinity for that. And then, as a user, if you always disregard the other side, then probably you do not want that.
Have you ever gotten like phone calls from like particular political parties and be like, hey, you know what? We're running this campaign. We wanted to build our favorism.
We've had crazy stories. This is back in 2016. There was one post which went viral. It was in Gujarati about one caste or community, which went viral in Gujarat. And we started getting threat calls that we know that your office is in Bangalore and यहाँ पे कोरमंगला में है and हम पथराव कर देंगे.
ऐसे company क्यों? What's your fault?
Because they thought, and this is like 2016, right? Way earlier. They thought we were a magazine. We were like a publishing house जिसने content बनाया. And we have to explain कि जैसे Facebook में होता है वैसे ही Sharechat में होता है. हमने नहीं बनाया ये कोई creator ने बनाया और हमें नहीं पता कि क्या है. So because people didn't know, right? कि मतलब this is back in 2016. People thought Facebook एक अलग चीज है, बाकी सब जो है वो magazine है या digital publishing house है. So we've had, and in fact after that, and even now, if you come to our Bangalore office, we have no signboards.
Okay.
Because we attract so much attention from people, we have no signboards.
Nobody knows
where we are. And a lot of people, when they come to our office, they keep saying, यार नाम तो है नहीं तुम्हारा. I'm like, this, it's for a purpose, but आप इस building में आओ, इस floor पे आओ, मिल जाएगा office आपको. So we've kept a very low profile that is.
It's good. It works in your favor. I've heard a lot of startups do that. Uber में भी ये करते थे लोग पहले कि I don't think अभी भी ये होता है नहीं. Like Uber, nobody knows Uber's office.
I think WhatsApp did that.
WhatsApp did that as well. Where do you feel is the next $1 billion industry, or where do you feel in India, if the entrepreneurs are looking at this, where should they start focusing on? Where should they build it? Where do you feel like the next big thing What is the next big thing?
So I think one area that I feel very strongly, again, it might not appeal to a lot of tech entrepreneurs, but I think devotion, spirituality, astrology is huge in India,
Okay.
and nobody is solving that. So I'll tell you, the offline astro consultation market in India is almost equal to our ads market in India, and there is no good product solving for that. Again, it's not a sexy business, very India specific,
Who cares?
but nobody's building for that. That's an opportunity, at least I see.
Who
I have
cares
invested
about whether
in a few
sexy
companies.
business or not sexy business? If it's solving a problem, it's a massive problem.
Yeah.
We should build on it.
I in fact have done angel investments in those companies, but that is one I see which is could be a $1 billion outcome if done well.
Astrology market. Oh,
Spirituality,
helping people
astrology,
spiritual.
yeah.
Like helping people with their ghar ka vastu, helping with their
Like on Sharechat, I can tell you we have a lot of Jyotishis who do live stream and give consultations.
interesting. Another big market in India.
The biggest spammers on Sharechat are Jyotishis.
Even
And that is one signal, right? When people who spam the most probably have a really working business model.
yeah. That's an interesting way of seeing things, right? If they spam a lot, so most of the spam which you get is like, hey, forex trading secrets and astrology.
Yeah.
आप कोई भी problem हो इस number पे phone कीजिए.
You go to a local bus, see pamphlets.
Hmm.
A lot of them will be around spirituality and astrology.
Hmm.
If so much money is going into print marketing by an industry, something is working, right? They're able to afford that marketing.
Interesting. And do you have any plans of how do you solve it or how do you pick that up, or no? It's just an industry you feel it's gonna be something.
Yeah, I think it there is no easy solution. I think a lot of people have tried, failed. I think it needs a very product focused company to sort of rethink how it should happen. Right? We are seeing glimpses on Sharechat on live stream how that is happening. Like astrology consultations are being reimagined of how they should happen on a live stream.
But Ajay, ek baat batao, like, do you think the new generation are also into this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same Janta which shares breakup status is also asking love queries.
And love queries get solved by these babas
Hmm.
and astrologers, and maybe they're good ones, maybe they're bad ones,
Yeah.
but it's just
Yeah.
very interesting. So I tell you, the conclusion of the podcast is that surprisingly, India has one of the biggest breakup markets, and the same people who are thinking about breakups have love queries who are going to astrologists. So if you feel that you can build and solve this problem, then you should go for it, because that might become a $1 billion industry. This is a very good insight. This is the most fresh answer we have ever gotten. So
Thank you.
kudos on that. Like genuinely, I never thought of it. सब कोई बोलता है हेल्थ टेक, कोई बोलता है बायोटेक्नोलॉजी, कोई बोलता है फिनटेक. लाइक हर किसी का अपना एक आंसर होता है, राइट? Yours was like very very specific, nice and insightful.
Thank you.
That's what happens when you get like people from different fields, right? नई चीजें पता चलती है. Thanks a lot for doing this, man. I hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, it was great.